Welcome to Funimation 3D, where learning comes alive in amazing adventures. Have you ever smelled cookies before you even saw them? Or sniffed a flower from far away and thought, how did that smell reach my nose? How can your nose know something is there when your eyes haven't seen it yet? Today, we're going on a magical science quest to solve a mystery. How do smells travel, and what does moving air have to do with it? Ready, young detectives? Take a deep sniff, because our adventure begins now. Imagine you're walking down a street. You don't see a bakery yet, but suddenly, you smell warm bread, sweet donuts, or chocolate cookies. It feels like the smell is calling you like a secret message in the air. But smells don't have tiny hands to wave at your nose. So what's really happening? Here's our first big clue. Smells are made of tiny invisible pieces that come from things. Scientists call them odor molecules, but you can think of them as teeny tiny smell particles. They're so small you can't see them, not even with a magnifying glass. But they are real, and they can float and travel. Now, let's meet our team for today's adventure. There's Kai, a curious kid explorer. There's Breeze, a friendly little gust of air who loves to move around. And there's a whole group of smell particles called the sniff sprites. The sniff sprites come from a tray of fresh cookies sitting on a kitchen table. They pop out into the air like tiny invisible balloons. Boop, boop, boop. Kai whispers, "Okay, sniff sprites, how do you get to my nose?" The sniff sprites cheer, "We ride the air." That's our second big clue. Smell particles travel through the air. Air might look empty, but it isn't. It's like an invisible ocean all around you. In that invisible ocean, smell particles can float, wiggle, and drift. But if air is everywhere, why doesn't the smell stay right near the cookies? Great question. Here comes clue number 3. Smell particles spread out. Imagine you drop a tiny bit of food coloring into a glass of water. At first, the color is in one spot, but slowly, it spreads out into the whole glass. Smells do something similar in the air. This spreading has a science name, diffusion. Diffusion is just a big word for a simple idea. Tiny particles like to spread out and explore. It's like they're little explorers saying, "Let's go everywhere." Kai watches the sniff sprites do their explorer dance. They bounce in every direction, left, right, up, down, giggling, "Wee, we're spreading out!" But then Kai asks, "Wait, if you only spread out slowly, how does the smell reach me so fast?" And that's when Breeze swoops in with a whoosh. "Because I move," Breeze says proudly. "And when I move, I carry you along." That's our next big clue. Moving air, like wind, can push smells farther and faster. Air can move when a fan is on, when a door opens, when people walk by, when the weather is windy, or when warm air rises. Breeze gives a playful spin, and suddenly, the sniff sprites aren't just spreading out, they're going on a ride. "Hold on!" they shout. "Air taxi!" Now our adventure gets tricky. The sniff sprites want to reach Kai's nose, but between them and Kai is a closed door. Kai stands in the hallway, and the cookies are inside the kitchen. "Uh-oh," says Kai. "Can smells travel through walls?" The sniff sprites bump into the door. Bonk, bonk. Most of them can't go straight through because the door is solid, but some of them find tiny cracks around the edges. Some slip under the door through a small gap near the floor. Secret tunnels! Ning sunch? Si, sauce, they giggle. So here's another clue. Smell particles can sneak through tiny spaces, but solid walls and closed doors can block most of them, making the smell weaker. That's why you might smell something a little, but not a lot, when there's a barrier. Now, can you guess what happens next? The kitchen door opens just a little, and whoosh! Breeze rushes out, and the sniff sprites zoom into the hallway like a parade. Kai laughs. "Whoa! The smell got stronger!" Exactly, because when more smell particles reach you, the smell feels stronger. When fewer reach you, the smell feels weaker. That's why a strong perfume can fill a room quickly, why a tiny flower smell might only be noticed when you're close, and why a smelly trash can can seem extra powerful when you're nearby. Strong or weak isn't only about the thing that smells. It's also about how many smell particles make it to your nose and how the air moves them around. Now let's solve another mini mystery. Why do smells sometimes travel faster on warm days? Here's a fun way to imagine it. Warm air is like a bouncy trampoline. Cold air is more like a sleepy blanket. When air is warm, the tiny particles in the air move around more. They wiggle faster and bump into each other more. That can help smell particles spread and travel faster. That's why the smell of hot soup can drift through the house quickly, and why warm cookies often smell stronger than cold cookies. And now the sniff sprites have reached the most important place of all, Kai's nose. Inside your nose are special smell catcher spots, like tiny superhero sensors. When smell particles land there, your nose sends a message to your brain, and your brain goes, "Aha, I know that smell. See eyes? Cookies, flowers, perfume, or maybe garbage. Ew." Yes, even rain has a smell. When rain hits dry ground, it can lift tiny smell particles from plants and soil into the air. That's why, after the first rain, the air can smell fresh and earthy, like nature just took a shower. Kai grins and asks, "So my brain is the one naming the smell?" Exactly. Your nose is like the detective's tool that collects clues. But your brain is the detective boss that says, "Case solved." So let's recap our mystery, detective style. Smells come from tiny invisible smell particles. These particles float in the air. They spread out like little explorers. Diffusion. Moving air like wind can carry them faster. Barriers like doors and walls can block them or make them weaker. Warm air can help smells travel faster. And your brain recognizes the smell when the particles reach your nose. Now take a deep sniff again. Sniff, sniff. What can you smell right now? Maybe soap, maybe food, maybe fresh air, or maybe nothing at all. And that's okay too. Because even when you don't smell something, the air is still full of tiny travelers, and your nose is always ready for the next mystery. Kai waves goodbye to the sniff sprites. Breeze does a happy twirl, and Kai says, "I never knew the air was such an amazing invisible highway." Now you know too, science adventurer. If you loved this adventure, like, share, and subscribe to Funimation 3D for more exciting science mysteries.